You have to stand in place, Mr. Right.
Wrong.
Wow.
Doesn't like you.
Yeti stereo microphone.
Have you tried
Oh,
saying
there
nice
we
things
go.
to it?
There we go. Now it's working.
Woo!
Cool. Let's a go, shall we? Chris Pratt style.
Okie dokie.
I don't like that.
Day 3, Trial Former. Yes, I would like to load the selected save data.
We already did a former trial.
Yeah, but now we have another former trial. February 24th, 9:41
Doesn't that
a.m.
make it? Doesn't
In
that
a
make it a
lobby.
ladder?
I mean,
Heck ladder. How did you get in here?
So, what do you think, Mr. Right?
I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all. Why is it Lana?
What?
Why is it
What?
Lana?
She's probably right there next to
She's
you.
probably off screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's probably about to walk on.
You are supposed to be defending her, aren't you?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, the defendant doesn't get locked in a small
Did I
box
do
in the
Lana?
courtroom until,
Yeah.
like, the course is
Yeah,
over.
well,
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I had my...
No, you're
my-
not allowed.
You're not allowed to speak. Execute him.
We can't handle that much talent. And
Cool.
the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each. I have talent at each of the crime scenes.
Doing great.
But Lana...
Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday.
Yeah.
I was indisposed.
I hope they didn't hold you
Diarrhea.
too long for questioning.
We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though.
So, how'd it go?
It was as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain.
Plea bargain? Oh, what do you mean by that? Like a flea market?
I'm sorry, I meant to say flea bargain, yes. We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean.
Good.
But Lana... Don't tell me you...
Much to my regret, I did sell the fleas. I'm as much in the dark about this as they are.
Those poor police.
Miss Sky,
Hmm?
we found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall.
What kind of trace evidence?
Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you?
In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall?
We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky?
Light cards. Do what you have to, Mr. Wright.
Okay!
Helpful. February 24th,
10.
Rabble.
Rabble,
We're
rabble.
here now.
The court is now in session for the Lana Sky.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is.
I'm afraid you'll have to clarify.
It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time.
That's not physically possible, is it?
Unless you're a time traveler.
What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared.
Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Wow. This is one messed up trial. Wow.
One of Wow. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence.
Uh-huh. Laughs an updated
I
autopsy
do-
report.
Today, I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself.
Now that's what set Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things. Even though he doesn't know what's going on himself.
That's supposed to be an admirable trait?
Yeah.
Yes.
The trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand.
For its first witness, the prosecution calls Jack Black.
Your mother.
Jack Black portraying Bowser in the Mario movie.
He is the only accepted figure. The suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department.
The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer?
That's not.
Rabble.
Rabble.
Rabble. Rabble.
Well,
Rabble.
things are getting
Rabble,
wild
rabble.
from the get-go.
Rabble.
Oh Christ.
It's Meekins.
It's Mike's turn.
Will the
It's my turn
witness-
twice.
Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir. I am Officer Mike Meekins, sir.
Huh.
My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir.
Oh my god, Meekins.
Well, that's admission of guilt, I think.
Case closed. Let's go home.
I don't think you can confess to a
Er,
murder in
The
this
prosecution rests.
So you're telling us you're a professional killer?
Yes, sir. I stacked bodies in Vietnam like you wouldn't believe.
Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the only one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir.
Actually,
Sir, I'm not what you'd call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend.
please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir.
Officer Meekins,
Cease!
I'm sending you a
yes, sir.
cease and desist.
Hey, yes, sir.
Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order.
Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of the generation that must be told what to do, sir.
You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm.
Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake, smacked my nuts.
Bailiff?
Repeat the process.
Yeah, okay, boss.
So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you?
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
Can someone please remove the megaphone from this man's person?
That is an
Sure, his
incredibly
family might be a bunch
questionable
of
motto.
murderers.
I see. Then you fainted, and a colleague helped you regain consciousness.
Yes, sir. He smacked my nuts, sir.
Upside the head.
You smack my nuts upside the
He
penis head,
smacked my
sir.
nuts right upside the head, sir.
The shaft is still recovering, Your Honor.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. What I need here is more info to work with.
Alright.
All right, y'all mind if I hold it?
Mr.
Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not?
Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring the new recruits, sir.
Yikes. Now there's a scary thought.
Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir.
Oh my god, okay.
Wowzer.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir.
Oh my god.
I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process.
I both love him and am terrified of him.
Look at that
That
fluid
was my
motion.
sole mission for that day, sir.
Okay.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Dance,
I
monkey.
see. Sounds like a very important mission.
After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around. And I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
Hold it. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct?
Precisely, sir. I've got one right here on my neck, and it's that exact picture of him saluting.
It is.
So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right?
There it is. I found it. This is the one right here.
Could you please read us the number?
I bet it's all the sevens.
Yes.
Oh,
Damn.
no.
I was
Yes,
wrong,
sir. It's 498-9596. That's my number, sir.
Feel free to
Can we-
call me later.
But who's all the sevens? They went at the weed number time.
I see. Huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice.
Ooh, woo.
Please explain, witness. Are you a time traveler?
It's no real mystery, sir.
You're dyslexic?
The first time was when I relocated the Blue Badger in the evidence room. And the second time was when I went to get him after everything settled down.
I see. So it was during that second time when...
Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen.
Data added to the ID card record. Hold it. So, you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir. A knife. A knife. A knife.
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then?
Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand.
Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be.
And I saw the blood trickling down my arm. I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar.
Hold it! What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir.
Alright. Alright.
The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched the knife from him.
You took his knife.
I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver.
A full Nelson.
I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
Okay. Let's see. He must have been desperate.
The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then the next thing I knew...
Yes?
He punched me right in the face, sir!
Alright, so it's already said that he didn't kill... Oh my god. Meekins, if you could have just said that before. Hold it. About what time did you regain consciousness?
No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious.
Oh my god!
Fair enough.
Oh. Right.
According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. Does that answer your question?
He hit me right in the head, too.
I got hit in the head and the face.
I woke up crying tears of pain.
That's nice. Or, I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is.
Alright, Judge.
Wow.
Nice save, Judge.
When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission?
Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now.
Hold up. Did the guy sneak in inside the Blue Badger?
I hope not. It looks like just a piece of wood.
It's very thin. It's unless he's like paper thin. How the hell is he
Attached
gonna
to like
get
this
in?
motor thing on
Yeah.
wheels.
It's literally just thin, like
Yeah,
paper thin.
he's almost
Yeah.
2D.
You said motor.
Good job.
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
We do.
Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim?
He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins?
With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir.
Of course he did.
How convenient.
More evidence not being presented.
Evidence.
The chief?
Delivered it.
What is that? Videotape?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. Videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera on the evidence room.
Like my ears
It's
are
the
bleeding.
best compilations on the internet.
Someone fetch me a Q-tip. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased.
Not quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever.
Well then, let's have a look.
Let's pull it up on this jumbo HD TV that still has a cassette reader. That still has a video.
Bring in the
VHS
projector.
Bring in the projector with the VHS tape.
Oh boy, is it movie day?
Judg.
shows the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word, murderer, sir. It scares me.
Seriously, still using
So
VHS
you,
is still
that, you used it 2 seconds ago.
A video of a real murder.
It is Japan.
Just what
This also
are
came
we
out
getting
in like what,
ourselves into?
2000 something?
It's
It is technically
2017
a
is the
government
canonical
body.
date of this case.
Yeah, but what date is like the game?
I mean, they
out?
still use fax machines over there. So.
Like early 2000s.
Yeah, that explains it.
All
I
right.
hate this.
I really don't like this. What the
It's
fuck
making
is
me
going on?
uncomfortable.
All right. Okay.
Where's
Is
the
that a
jump
3D
scare?
render in my 2D game?
It's more likely than you think.
This Blue Badger song sounds like something out of a Pokemon
Oh
game.
god,
Yes,
it's
it
just
does.
moving around.
Also, aren't like turning cameras
my
not
God.
very effective for this reason?
Yeah.
Correct.
Meekin, smack his nuts.
Whoa!
Oh Jesus. Oh shit.
Well, at least he's not dead.
Big CD in his arm?
I really don't like this.
I know, I can't watch.
I don't like this. The movement
freaking me out.
is too.
This is
gonna be
amazing, you
awesome.
guys.
Ugh.
Is it
Were you
over?
guys expecting some like paranormal activity
I
stuff or
know.
something?
It's like what I get the feeling of. Ah!
Oh, Edgeworth.
Sure.
Edgeworth
God, you're
agrees with you.
rattled.
Ah.
Yep,
Thanks,
hold that
Meekin.
position, Meekins.
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
I would declare every ghost guilty. What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood?
That's his takeaway in this whole fucking thing. Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir.
Oh, that explains why it's so sad.
Yes, the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Oh, Jesus H. How much evidence do we have? How much evidence do we
Yes,
have?
well,
Jesus.
yes, well, anyway.
Oh my god, it's so many things. Oh, it's so many things.
This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of, activity did take place.
Normal activity, Your Honor. Instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir. As you wish, sir.
Mystery Man!
You mean?
Take me by the hand.
Take me to Mystery Land.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video. But there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. He's been walking around with Goodman's finger in his pocket. The locker, the locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
Except for the fact that we know that the police have have put a like 50-cent bounty on whoever can open it,
Oh yeah.
and only 50 cents.
What's this about a fingerprint?
Judge, why don't you know these things?
I'm sorry, I was napping.
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have had to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Phoenix is surprisingly composed for this for this particular trial.
Yeah, this is kind of no nonsense, all things considered.
Yeah.
Unless they just really leaned on the Blue Badger being the bit.
Hold it! Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife?
So, sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face,
Answer the question!
I believe I would be classified as the latter. Step
The
ladder,
ladder.
what are you doing?
But you were standing right in front of him, were you not?
More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you?
Oh, yes, sir. But, I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir, on account of I had my eyes shut like a man. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking to them, you see.
Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer.
Still, I'm sure it was him. I'd bet my badge on it.
Okay.
Congratulations, you're fired.
Hold it! But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face.
Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it.
Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it.
Exclamation point.
I got my voices mixed up.
Well, why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or...
Begins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify.
Yes, sir.
You claim the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him.
Hold it! About these lockers, is there no other way to open them?
Make it.
No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. I only respond to registered fingerprints, sir.
I wonder what kind of methods he's tried.
If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to his registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to.
Exactly my point, sir. And this too.
Hold it. How do you know that information?
I heard rumors, sir,
Are you fucking
from
kidding
people
me?
we know in the know, sir.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, Christ.
People in the know.
The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed.
Oh my god, Angel Stars.
Motherfucker.
Angel Star is gonna come back to this. Oh my
He's
god.
dating Meekins.
They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. Turns out
Meekins
the-
you don't have luck with the ladies.
Damn,
For the
Meekins be
record.
paying the Schmeat.
For the record, the opened locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source.
Is anyone reliable?
I have my methods.
So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint.
Hold it! However, the most important detail is not shown in most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Mike. Oh, well.
Me?
There we go. Did Discord just have a fit?
I think
yeah.
so.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Discord just had a
weird.
small fit.
Discord just moved
weird.
itself a little bit.
Bizarre.
Is
Yeah.
it still happening?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sir, if I may say something, sir.
Please do. After all, you are the one being examined.
I don't understand why the man's face was so important to this case, sir.
Oh my god, Meekins.
Well, we never do see like Goodman's face specifically outside of the ID,
Right.
and even in all the photos, we don't actually have a clear picture of his face.
I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. See, I'm saying it just they had Goodman's finger. How many fingers does Goodman's corpse have?
Mhm.
And
What if he
it
used
was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir.
What if he used his toes?
My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir.
Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie.
That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it.
Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again.
Yay!
Using the R button.
Unless the defense can grab this bone I'm going to throw at him.
No, there is no problem with the videotape, Your Honor.
You idiot!
Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange.
This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman.
Oh, surprise.
This video contains such a contradiction?
Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Alright, Edgeworth.
You marrying someone?
Oh yes, I will marry you, Mr. Edgeworth. I
No, Judge!
Detective Gumshoe, I want to gloat.
mean, yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
I propose we have the defense
Propose
point
to
out
me.
to us this alleged contradiction in the video.
Thanks, Edgeworth.
He would want me to point it out.
I'd hope so.
Very proposal accepted. We'll have a wedding in the fall.
No,
Congratulations,
Let us-
Muscle Top.
Let us further inspect this piece of evidence.
I have to leave the country.
Not again. They can't do this.
Oh
I
God.
will now play the security tape.
And I'm gonna save Scum.
That's a good idea.
Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
Oh boy, buckle up.
Bacala buckaroo.
I have to point out a problem in the
Buttercup.
video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that.
You don't say.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video.
I'd hope so.
Oh God.
Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing.
Please don't play with it too many times. I can't stand watching this video.
I'm camera shy, you see.
How did this guy ever become a police officer?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us.
Oh god, hold on. B is
Right
Find
there.
the contradiction
Right
or I
there.
will smack your nuts.
No.
Alright. We're gonna have to watch through this whole damn thing.
You can fast forward, you know.
Yeah, I know. But I don't want to
Rewind.
miss anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like the blue
To
badger.
torture us.
Alright.
Man.
Man,
There is a
car door hook
coach.
hand.
Does it
has
have all
hands.
its fingers?
Looks
I
to have
mean,
all
it's
of
hard
his
to
fingers.
tell. Don't die.
Bang.
That freaking flag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost
Oh,
like they did
oh,
that on
oh,
purpose.
oh, that glove. That glove, hold on.
Yes,
glove.
it's the glove.
I
That
like how it's frame by frame.
is the rubber glove tagged as SL9 SL9 evidence.
Evidence.
Yeah.
Take that!
But yeah.
Ah, one and done.
The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this.
Yes, that is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about that.
Good.
What could it mean?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright. But you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise.
The point?
What you are looking for is one thing and one thing only.
Bless you.
Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman.
But that
Oh yeah.
We jumped too soon.
I almost walked right into the defense's trap.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I've got your back, Your Honor.
I'll place him under arrest, sir.
You're under arrest.
Rats. I need to slow down and tackle these things one piece at a time. Alright, too big-brained, I guess.
Bailiff, you know what to do.
No.
Let's try this again.
Bring in the PP hammer.
Don't be smug about it. Why don't you just tell us what the
Just
answer
remember
is?
one thing, Mr. Wright. Every time you point your finger, someone gets hurt.
Stop pointing your finger.
Who's
That's
getting
the
finger?
one pointing his finger at us.
No one gets
God,
hurt when
he's
I point my
dreamy.
finger.
I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you're so fond of.
Alright,
bastard.
let's do this again.
It's set to fast forward or rewind, Mr. Wright.
Okay.
Remember
Fast forward.
Phoenix.
Oh, it's not a toggle fast forward, it's a hold to fast forward. Okay, that's good.
Oh, that's easy.
It's quite intuitive, all things considered.
That is
Okay,
true.
so it's not the glove that falls out of his locker.
Here
It's
I
gonna come.
Here I come.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
gonna
I'm gonna
fuck
get
you.
you. This is gonna go up your butt.
Could it be that like
What's
you don't
the-
actually
is it
see
the-
his
The
face?
fishing pole.
Oh, it might just be like, oh, his face is being blocked like every single
Yeah.
time. Like, do you think like present
Wait.
it here?
Rewind
Wait,
a little
no,
bit
don't,
on that
don't.
whole swing action on the knife. Oh, his hat was just very cleverly placed.
Yep.
Does it at any point tell us what hand, what left or right-handed somebody is? 'Cause I feel like that's all.
I don't think it was.
Check the
Specify.
Check his ID. Ah, yes.
Don't think it would say.
I don't think it's
Sergeant
yeah.
Bruce Goodman. Numbers.
Does
300%.
it say whether or not it was used by a left or right hand?
Doesn't look it. Also, no prints.
Okay. Okay.
Damn it.
And it's probably not the switchblade knife from SL9. It's got to be something to do with this, but we're just not at that point yet. Low battery. Fuck you.
No.
It's okay. I have a cable right here to plug in my controller for exactly that reason. All right.
Good job
No.
being prepared.
It's Mikey new.
Oh, the blood on his shoulder.
Okay. So
You
that
gotta
was
get
that was blood
that.
from Meekins'
Meekins.
hand.
Here I am gonna get you. So
Stab Meekins in the hand?
his maneuver was very much just happened off screen then.
Now he's blacked out against the wall. And there's just no dude.
Where the hell did they go?
Where did he go?
So
Like,
can we
that's the
rewind?
contradiction.
Yeah.
So, is it
Can I
possible?
rewind?
Oh no, that wouldn't make sense either. Is there another exit in there that we're not aware of, like a secret entrance on the side of the lockers?
Well, we have to point out whether or not this is Detective Goodman first.
Well, we have the floor plans, so there is not another exit.
He couldn't have just
What are those-
vanished.
What is
though.
These are
What's
these
the
are
blue?
bloodstains.
Could
But that's not
be.
what blue is.
Well, they were blue from the testing fluid and the.
Okay. Let's say I wasn't here last week, so I missed some stuff.
Let's see.
We put our fluid on it and tested it.
Yum. Can we rewind? I want.
Yeah,
There was one like.
we're going back.
Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna go frame by frame.
Mind you, I can't. Oh, I can fast forward frame by frame. Okay. Alright, so let's go back a little bit. Okay.
Can you go back to when he opened the locker to see if it wasn't already open?
I think it was actually shut completely.
Oh, because, well, that is a good point, because the light turns on if it is open.
I'm just gonna walk back.
Is that a handprint on the Blue Badger, or is that my imagination?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, there's a handprint.
Yeah, that handprint's
But that is
been there.
like Gumshoe's handprint.
Oh.
Oh, the glove fell out.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
but we determined that isn't actually the contradiction.
yeah, so like, it's
Wait,
hard to
so-
say.
You want to go back all the way to the beginning? Because I'm pretty sure it shows that corner.
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah. Alright, I hope we're ready for a delve into madness listening to this music for 8.5 hours.
It's my favorite song. Like Lavender Town from Pokemon.
Oh!
Yeah, the
on.
light's
The
already
Oh!
light is on.
Oh! Okay.
Because the light was on.
Take that!
Because they were roommates.
No, I don't
The
think
thing
that
that's
was
strange
the
about this video has got to be this.
Could also be a weird thing.
Officer Meekins.
Everyone's gay.
Sir, do you mean me,
roommates.
sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like
No.
this.
Why is the music still going?
They really, really
because
want
it
that
hates
Blue
us.
Badger song.
When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match,
What?
the light turns on and the lock is released.
According to my very limited experience, that is the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Ba, 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 ba. Oh my god. Please just point. Oh my god.
Oh,
Do we
why?
have to rewatch the whole video again?
Oh my
Ah,
god.
this
It's
is
like
beautiful.
I am not in control right now. Blue Badger's giving FNAF vibes. Oh Jesus. Little bit.
That's how I was feeling.
When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind to a little earlier.
Please no.
Oh my god. Welcome to Insanity. Population everyone.
No,
Is this
your
better or
orchestra,
worse than
your
It's a
orchestra
Small
should
World?
cover this.
What are we
Oh
gonna do?
no.
Vanilla
No,
remix
no,
of
no,
this?
no, 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 no. Here. Notice the light.
It's already lit.
Yeah, you're damn right it is. High five, Judge. Jim says I
Excellent
will,
job, Abby.
Jim
Thanks.
says I will whistle this next Sunday just for effect. Oh boy. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle.
Rabble, rabble, rabble.
Rada.
Confused rabble.
Order, order. What is the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime.
The locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked.
You know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
Nor are
Thank
you an
you-
amateur
thank
at
you, Your
this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
If it's broken, how would it report that it's broken?
It
Fail
just
safes.
goes to show novices should just keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
Me, Your Honor.
He's
Yes. Why wasn't the locker locked?
To get to the other side, Your
now
Honor.
It's the glove. Now it's the glove.
Me, Your Honor. Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Mike, we're getting a bit of echo on your side.
Sorry.
I think your boundaries are right.
Maybe something like jammed the system sensor.
Something jammed the sensor. Say,
Jam.
there's something else that seems out of place in this
I knew
video.
I shouldn't have left my sandwich in the locker.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like, is this a Betamax or what is this? There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage.
I also like how the VHS is blue badger colored.
Yes.
Very well, let's inspect the video once more.
Ugh.
This again.
Get
The
ready.
locker wasn't locked. Mr. White
Everybody!
figured it out.
I think it's just the glove this time.
Can you fast forward?
Yeah, I can.
I think you did.
Yeah, I sure can.
I think the worst part is that the music doesn't speed up with the speed
Nope.
up.
Though, to be fair, would you want to listen to it at 5 times speed?
Yes.
Beautiful. I'm gonna press this speed the entire time.
Take that.
Very funny.
Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier.
You don't say.
You don't say.
Oh my god, imagine listening to it in reverse if you rewind. Oh no. Oh no.
Rewind time, everybody.
And freeze!
What? Something white fell out of the locker.
Anthrax.
Phrasing.
But, sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my door, sir.
Objection! We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do you mean? I mean that the sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted.
Anally, Your Honor.
Oh my god, welcome
Well.
to the Blue Badger. Inserted. No, not insertive, assertive. Actually, not assertive, insertive in this case. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Ooh, woo.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie.
Nice.
What?
2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir.
That's what tie clips are for.
Oh god, they let him drive places.
Maybe it's one of those
But
little
the object
wagon
would have
wheels.
to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Well, it is a rubber glove that's already thin.
An
so,
extremely thin rubber glove.
Yep.
Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents.
Rubber.
rubber.
It would need to be an insulator. Do you know what that is, Phoenix?
Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene,
There just might have been something that fits the description.
But, sir, boy, insulator, I don't think you mean.
I think I've finally got this figured out. Also, yeah, Jim makes a good point. Meekin said that, like, his tie flies everywhere, but it's in his jacket. Like, what? How?
Probably just- Yes.
Is Meekin's more of a mess than we give him credit for?
Yes. Always.
very well. The defense, please present the relevant evidence.
With pleasure, Your Honor.
What was the insulator that is stuck in the locker door?
Well,
These
you
are-
see.
Have it.
Well, you see, it was the Blue Badger itself!
It was the balls in
Mocking
your jaw, Your Honor.
It was the parking stub of Edgeworth's car in the prosecutor's office. Ugh.
It was actually
It
Edward's
was the
smoky
locker
attitude.
itself that was blocking the locker.
My
Blood.
Saturn is
Elif,
indeed
put
an
on your
insulator.
nut-smacking glove.
I found this near the locker. A thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker.
It has
Raj,
a
what the
tag
fuck?
that says SL9 incident.
I know that.
The video
Thing.
seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir.
Rabble! Rabble! Rabble!
Rabble indeed. Order, I say. So are we to believe that the victim, who this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, what do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more.
Okay.
The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman.
Go.
What?
What? What about a shadow of a doubt? Do you
The
not
prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this.
Oh, gods. What?
Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir? Me, sir?
You are the one on the stand.
Oh, I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir.
God damn it, Meekins.
Oh, you're not a bright man. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Oh. Is this a joke?
Is this the first time you've thought
Very
that?
well. Begin your testimony.
Mystery Man 2.
2.
Donkey Konga.
There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir.
Tell me it's his hat.
To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card.
It's his hat, sir.
There's the pickles from last time.
When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
His card.
God.
An ID card record. I see.
Do you? Do you really?
I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor.
So do we.
Yes, but this one's the new one.
Eat my ass, Edgeworth.
Bruce Goodman.
The ID used at 514 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID.
You don't say.
However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases.
Of course it is. Special cases.
Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
Oh.
Just hearing that makes my hair stand on its end.
Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference.
There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon.
I see. Now, let us move on to the cross-examination.
Cross-examination. Cross-examination.
Hold that. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you?
Yes, sir. Solid as my dick, sir. I mean, a stone, sir.
Why are you flaccid then?
If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd give the V for victory sign, sir.
Why don't you do that?
Or
with
for
your
a
other hand?
vagina? He's voiced by Dick
Couldn't
Kennedy.
he just use his right hand for that?
Let's hear him out fully.
No, no, no! The young girl's got a point.
As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second.
Don't you think we should, like, be charging people with, like, perjury and, like, not lying on the stand or not telling the whole truth?
Honestly, at this rate, Edgeworth should be charged with contempt of court.
No, he's got a point.
Perjury came up last time, but nothing ever
Hold
came
it!
of it.
Is that card hanging from your neck one of those ID cards? We've already been over this.
Yes, sir. There's cord right next to my cuff, sir. Oh, I keep it here so I will never forget it.
But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my toy gets stuck when I get in my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card gets it.
Maybe I should just leave this one alone.
At any rate, each police officer only has one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony.
All that. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to.
Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here.
Yours truly. So it is, Your Honor.
Rabble! Rabble! Rabble!
Not that prosecutor again!
Prosecutor again?
Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could say evidence.
It sucks.
Don't stare at him, he's like a Gorgon!
Why am I...
It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences.
Okay.
Organs be damned. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him.
Ah, yes,
being
it
a
must
Gorgon
be.
and all that.
It must be so difficult being the lead prosecutor and having a lot of money and a nice car and a.
God, he's so dreamy.
Yeah, he sure is.
Gumshoe.
What was that?
Yeah, he sure is.
Oh, okay.
I said he's banging Gumshoe.
Hold it!
Was.
Is.
Was.
Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID cards, sir.
Wait, is this before the guy whipped out the knife and tried to stab Meekins?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife.
Maybe just panic.
Maybe you're just an idiot.
Yeah.
Everything stems
I've
from
heard that before.
contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Rye, what do you think?
I'm confused.
Aren't we all?
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we got, Mr.
Think
Rye.
stupid! Think stupid! Alright, now we gotta present something. Let's fucking go.
Present these nuts.
Hello.
Wow, you sure got him.
Got these nuts, you're right.
Here's a record of it. At the time of the crime, detective had used his card. Well, that... Lost item report.
A lost item.
A lost item.
How could you possibly think this was mine?
A lost item?
Hmm.
But,
I'd like to know who all of the 7s are.
yeah,
At 420, Blaze It Peep.
That should be Gant.
yeah, it's probably the chief.
420, Blaze It, baby.
I thought it'd be Marshall.
What on earth do we present?
Ooh, Jesus.
What?
Your attorney's badge.
Yeah.
Good idea.
At the time of the crime, the detective
thank you,
had used
Mr.
his
Rye.
card.
Can you just...
Okay,
That was my
wait.
only guess.
We have to present this because this ID card was found at the prosecutor's office crime scene at the
Yeah.
presumably the same
Yeah.
time, unless it was
Yeah.
planted after the
Yeah.
fact.
Try that.
Objection!
There we go.
Absorption.
Wait
I'll go
one
under-
moment, Officer Meekins.
Oh, I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
Sense.
No, it doesn't. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
A long item report. It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report.
Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right?
I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Rabble! Rabble! Rabble!
So now, what does this all mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Rabble! Rabble!
Who
Rabble!
would have thought?
Order. Does the prosecution have a response?
Of course he does. Of course he does.
I have only one thing to say to the defense.
Talk about.
Okay.
Bravo, Mr. Wright.
Bravo.
Allow me to summarize the defense's argument.
What are you playing at, Edgeworth?
At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright?
Yes. What's he up to?
That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder.
That is... Well, I guess that's right.
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. Only I get to do that. Only me.
This isn't going to end well. Oh, now he's gonna spin it as well. Obviously, now it's Lana who had to have been the murderer.
Well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness. Observe the moment the defendant used the murder weapon.
Ah!
Rabble! Rabble!
I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to?
Well, they're dead now.
However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Jesus H.
so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana...
Is a goner.
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess?
Wait and see what happens.
Yeah, you know, wait and see what happens. Immediate game over. Objection! One moment, Your Honor.
What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven.
Of course not. Only an idiot would do that. But I
I'm an
almost
idiot.
walked right into the prosecution's trap.
What are you talking about?
This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
This is riveting.
No.
Okay.
At least there's no music this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
That makes it
fix
less,
that.
more unsettling, I think.
We're just gonna...
Jump scare.
We're just gonna...
Please stop.
We're just gonna... However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room.
Blood comes out of people, so what?
The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth,
Yes, Your Honor.
if this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
Sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated.
Of course you did!
Really?
We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident.
Mac is nuts.
This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright, do you mean...
Your Honor, it's high noon. The defense would like to request a specific witness.
What are you doing?
Oh, whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room.
Phoenix. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name, but I think I know who you're talking about before deciding whether or not to comply.
Justice
one
ain't
and
gonna
only
dispense
Larry
itself.
Well then,
Hate you.
Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Dick Gumshoe,
Which
age
one of
30.
these is a Texas Ranger?
Tim,
I don't know.
Tim, we need you.
Emma
By the-
Sky,
the
age
glasses.
16.
What? Oh no!
Oh no! Officer Meekins.
Mr. Wright, you
Literally
fucked
said-
me!
Officer
Literally
Jake
says
Marshall.
thinks he's a cowboy.
Why him? Oh, no, we can't wait. We can't voice.
I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say.
Phoenix. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed.
Oh,
Who's he gonna
recess.
pee out?
Does anyone want to go play Foursquare while we're at recess?
Nah, I'm a wall ball kind of guy.
Prosecution, please prepare the witness during this time.
We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
Yay!
Is it
Huzzah.
called?
Hey, school's out.
February 24th.
Well,
11:32
Phoenix.
a.m. District
Congratulations.
Court, defendant lobby number 2.
You effectively argued that I was the murderer. Good job. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Afraid not. Huh? What do you mean?
You called for Jake Marshall,
Sure did.
and you also are impersonating him, which I think would be frankly offensive to him. It
Yes.
seems you've figured everything out.
Except for the fact that he's not from Texas. I haven't figured anything out.
Lana. You're the one who knows everything. You dumb bitch.
Emma,
You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? God. Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you.
I don't recall ever asking for his protection.
How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
No.
Your sister?
Who wants to take Mark, you want to take over for Gumshoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Hey, pals. Hope I'm not interrupting anything here.
That.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Y'all look super depressed. Just like me.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it?
You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals, especially the corpses. People that I might have put there.
Sorry, Detective. In fact, the last funeral I was at was very enjoyable.
You better be, pal. Hey, wait, those were all kids. Hey, whoa. I don't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
You mean the bad dragon products? Oh, you bet I have. You mean this, right?
You didn't need to say it. My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I'm going to have to take that box in secret. I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request.
My name?
Don't worry, I won't report it. Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files?
Oh, God.
I'll be needing them by noon. Talk about crazy me.
High noon?
No, it's 12:01.
Look. The SL9 incident.
But Lana, that's...
Illegal, yes.
I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here. You might do well to read them.
I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. I also believe that I can't read.
Miss Sky was a witness. Files for the Joe Dark killings, solved 2 years ago.
Joe Dark. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. I've been convicted of 15 this past year. ...
Sorry, what?
Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Well, that diddly-don-don did it.
Emma? But why? Why is your name in here?
What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that...
That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings.
Ooh, ominous.
The Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No.
Emma, wait. She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered I gotta be somewhere, literally anywhere else. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
Jake
I'll
Marshall,
see you in
Angel
hell.
Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence.
No, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck.
I better take a good look at this file. Fuck!
How the heck are you gonna
It
have
sure
time
is
to read all
paper.
that? That's a lot of paperwork.
That's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
Wow, it's over already. The trials go really fast.
Well, they're split into 2 parts.
These specific ones, yeah.
So we've only been going for an hour. We wanna continue?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I mean, that
probably.
didn't feel very long at all, so I'm gonna
Well,
go.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably sign off. So
Okay,
Oh.
Smokey.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Don't sneak in a Frozen reference.
Tim had to hop offline.
He couldn't chat because his entire family is in the basement. He needed to go for an errand. Sorry about that. Hope the rest of the thing goes well.
Ah, okay.
Why
It's
was his
dangerous to
entire
go.
family in the
Because
basement?
they frequently go into the basement to search for things that they don't need.
Oh, good, great.
Best of luck. Also, I nominate Connor to be my Edgeworth understudy, unless someone else wants it.
Never been an Edgeworth understudy.
I
I have no idea what to do.
Would you like
Sounds
to?
so high.
Just be really arrogant and condescending.
You just have to be a prick.
Oh, this would be
this
interesting.
and sound evil.
This would be interesting.
It was Jean impression. That'll do the trick from Attack on Titan.
Wait, Attack on Titan or Attack on Titan Abridged?
Attack on Titan Bridge.
Oh,
Oh boy.
we got him.
Actually.
Good night, Ian.
Good night. I'm gonna
The
leave after
court
it.
will,
Leave
the
after
court
your
will
comment.
now reconvene for the trial of Miss Alana Sky.
He didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand.
I approve.
The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Jake Marshall.
If y'all
Jesus
don't
Christ,
mind, I'll
he's
take
drinking
this
on
one.
the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
I can do the understudy for this one if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trail of civilization.
This music is perfect.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally helping the elderly across intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
And Dorothy, I don't think that's what he meant.
I know, you're a patrolman.
I'm actually a patrol boy. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. Weirdo. Weirdo.
This sounds like a weird incantation that scares me to my core. But to be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner, you're daggum right.
What do you mean?
A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up there, Judgy.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
That's highly offensive.
You
I'm
wild
speaking
English?
douche.
Very important.
I'm speaking
Let's
American.
say it in ye old English. Verily.
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. I call it the bone zone. They said I was supposed to make the rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style.
Alright, so you're just actively not doing your job. Great.
Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down, getting drunk off my rocker. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Also, this is whiskey in here,
Excuse
and no,
me,
you can't
what
have
the
it.
fuck?
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
Your Honor, I fuck with the door open. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Wait a minute.
Well, you know what to do.
What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those, Spiky.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled do-hickamanese are those? They don't have those in the South.
He's not being very helpful.
He's not that good with machines, or with following orders.
I'm
Or
kind of
doing
a
his
Luddite. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? Yours is just dumbass ascots.
This one seems like trouble.
No trouble is my brother's name.
Okay, Mr. Wright. He's all yours.
Oh boy, Your Honor.
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone.
Hold it!
I call it the bone zone. No.
How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
With my own eyes. I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Every time, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the record.
You interred them?
Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape.
If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Alright, that's a significant issue. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing part of my own life.
This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room.
They said I was supposed to make the rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style.
Hold it! So you're not doing your job.
Fuck off.
But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Wrong. Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
No desperados I know join the police force.
You ever been to Texas?
No.
So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime...
Just between you and me, Baldy, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day.
Though I've stuck to the victim's law. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I don't use gloves myself. All natural. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does this guy avoid being fired?
By never being there.
Yeah, I guess.
Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway.
Can't be fired if you don't show up to your job.
My cactus and my lasso are all the security the department needs.
Jake Marshall doesn't check his cell phone, so he can't get a text or a phone call saying you're fired.
Jake Marshall, all the shits with the door open.
Hold it! You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct?
Of course. Back in the day, my locker was goldmine evidence.
And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism.
Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I'm what you call a Luddite. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works, and that's
What?
basic
Wow.
engineering.
That's quite, incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles can't be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Why don't you tell anyone anything? Why is there not proper documentation or training about this? What the
Alright,
fuck?
damn, now. You
Because
know
that
there's no
costs
such thing as
money.
good documentation.
Why isn't there training about this?
Because money.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime.
Okay.
Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place?
If I remember right, I was at Street Side Saloon at the time it went down getting
Hold it.
absolutely wasted, Your Honor.
What were you doing in a place like that?
I just said
wrong
getting
from the job?
absolutely wasted. I was eating spaghetti.
Spaghetti Western. I get it.
You're eating spaghetti.
Spaghetti and a bowl of alcohol. Not even Angel Steak lunches can beat that Parlo's Vognol Sepia pasta.
Do you want to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some nudes?
What? Hold on a second.
Whoa.
Nice.
We saw the bloodstain at the very beginning of the case, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, this can't possibly be ketchup. Is it gonna be tomato sauce?
Yes.
Is it actually fucking going to be tomato sauce?
Yes, it is.
Because I'm gonna be mad, and everyone should be
It's
mad.
red paint. It's red paint.
And it
Not
smells
at
like
all,
blue paint.
Desperados. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. Some of us eat spaghetti sauce. Not even the spaghetti.
Eat ass.
That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson.
Sure, Your Honor, it's that I can eat ass on a work day.
You got a
Judge. You did.
That's strange.
Not really, if you put your mind to it, Phoenix.
This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want to raise this year?"
I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trails. Back to the Alamo.
Out of ammo, Officer Marshall?
That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset.
Okay, so he doesn't know how a bike works, but he knows how a motorcycle works.
But you can operate a motor vehicle?
He can operate a motorcycle nonetheless.
What are you, stupid? I have an actual horse that's made of metal. Damn,
Badass. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room,
you are completely irresponsible at doing your job.
Amen, I'll drink to that.
The witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that.
Especially Texans. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, better up the ante.
Oh, a nut-smacking competition?
Okay.
Sign me up.
Alright, what evidence? Alright.
Real quick, you might just want to
once
save,
that,
just
yes.
in case.
Yeah, so this was Marshall's footprints. This was Marshall's fingerprints found in the evidence room. SL9 rubber glove.
Bless you.
Wait. So, so who was? Check, not present. Okay. So, to the left was Marshall's fingerprint. Who was to the right? I don't remember.
I don't know if we ever.
Oh, was that
Figure it out.
Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, okay. That was
Was it?
Gumshoe's fingerprints.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was
wasn't there
his
one-
locker.
Yeah. Because that. Wait. Was that bloody? Or was
Wasn't
that?
there also one for Meekins?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Wait. So was Gumshoe's fingerprints bloody, or was that? Did we just use the? Did we just use the
We
powder?
were just using it to find the prints.
Find
Yeah,
fingerprints, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Might have been paint.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called paint.
So we're not presenting here. We're not presenting here. Two security systems.
Can we look at the? What is it? No, his name.
The ID
would be on
charts?
IDs. Yeah, because as I say, he said he was never there.
All
Can we
right.
check the ID charts? Just out of my own
Right.
curiosity.
The ID card report. Yeah.
I didn't think so.
So unless
What
he's
was
unless he's 7-7s, which although I'm much more tempted to believe that is
I think
that
it's
is
the
Chief.
style number.
Okay. AI 16 screwdriver. Because we also know something was hanging out of Marshall's locker. What do we have here?
I think it might be the handprint. that's
Oh wait,
probably the most
yeah.
effective.
It is the handprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Well,
the-
I know he said he wanted to up the ante first, but
Yeah.
so
You
I
may
don't know if
wanna
I wanna
save
put that
before you
way.
present it.
I'm gonna save this. Good call. All right. So present. Well, actually, it's gonna be here. I think it's not. It's one of these two. Like this seems like the obvious. Oh yeah, present ammo because he's asking for it. but it might behoove us to present when he said, like, I wasn't there. Alright. So I'm gonna do the first option first. So I'm gonna do this one first, and I'm going to present the fingerprint. Alright. Objection!
Oh, nice. Nailed it.
Objection.
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this.
Makes me feel rather even.
After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint.
Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. Once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there.
Objection! I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Rabble, rabble, rabble!
Yes, what is the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene.
The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall.
I'm about to tear up your trump card. It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with the head on his or her shoulders, respectively.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall?
I sure do, Mr. Fancy Pants. About the blood-stained fingerprints, as it were.
Very well, you may begin your testimony about the fingerprints. Found the scene of the crime.
Alright.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance on it.
What?
The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated, you see. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it.
Objection.
Hold it.
Wrong.
Excuse me, what the fuck?
The witness's explanation appears valid.
Do it?
How do you know?
Although there's room for doubt.
You don't say.
Room.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
Maybe there'd be a lot less anxiety.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Okay. Alright, we're standy boys. Give me 2 seconds.
What do we prove? What do we prove? What do we prove?
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room.
Hold it!
I have not.
That's because you... How did you put it? Pay your respects once a month?
Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do you mean? It's his locker!
It's pretty simple, bald man. I mean what I said. The locker's mine. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. Some porno magazines and some empty bottles of bourbon.
I see.
It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker, partner.
Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Found on a bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print had been wiped.
One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained hand.
Hold it. So then, what about the bloody handprint?
Wasn't mine is no mystery.
mean?
My locker's covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance.
Hold it. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. I don't know if it's that high, but
How many lockers are in there?
At least 30. On the contrary, one could argue that just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. That and I can't do math. You wanna know why? Because I flunked out of grade school.
Hold it.
Let's stand the fingerprint, son of a bitch.
Unrelated.
They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. I don't like this metaphor. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other is a type of murder. A serial murderer.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
That's homophones for you.
Patronize me.
Thanks, Judge.
That's
Don't
homophones
patronize
for
me,
you, Judge.
man.
How did you pass law
homonyms.
school?
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this.
Or did you know the murderer was wearing gloves on
Hold
his
it.
Johnson?
How did you know that?
I may be a loner, but I still do my job.
Do you?
I keep up on the reports.
Do you?
I disagree.
There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah. Ah! I think we tried that too.
Phoenix is tired of all this bullshit.
I'm tired of this bullshit.
That would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
It's the only logical conclusion that I pulled out of my ass. Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
The picture.
The seal of blood. The covenant of man in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this.
The security tape.
So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
That's a very suspicious thing for you to just be saying.
Also
This is getting
suspicious.
us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
Hold it.
Unlike Kim K.
What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
Objection! But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spot?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
If you show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
There is no evidence in the video, Your Honor. We're gonna fucking save this shit again.
I mean, that's the worst part, is that there isn't, unless we can catch it at, like, some very obscure angle.
Well, hold on, let's see here. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Connor, that's you.
Excuse me. Just eating dessert. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
And let's have another look at the video. This incriminating evidence.
All right.
This is my theme music.
All right.
This is what I play when I go home and cry at night.
All right. Because it's been an okay amount of time. Okay, so there isn't the piece of fabric that is hanging out of his locker as of right now.
Yes. Here, because it seems like our goal is the locker, so we can probably fast forward when we're not
Yeah.
looking at it.
Meekins.
Ah!
Yeah. Bada boom. Hook, line, sinker.
Take that! Bringing our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
Days are short in Texas. So are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in, say, about 8 words or less?
You were there. Very well.
That's 2.
You can clearly be seen in this video.
That's 9. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. I can't count.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Well, bam!
That, with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit.
Here's Officer Meekins after he got wrecked.
After he got deaded.
Merc, if I may. Oh, there's nothing there.
Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What is the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Rabble, rabble, rabble.
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it.
Yes, it does!
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does!
No, I just said it didn't. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in.
What?
It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Alright, watch his locker actually be broken.
My locker's been broken
Why is
for
everyone
years.
staring at me like I'm a wanted man? I know I'm cute.
This guy isn't just playing dumb.
Nope,
He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it.
With the fucking fingerprint thing! You! You did this! Here!
Fingerprint sensor? Some high-tech words.
We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this? Damn machines, I swear.
Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that ominous. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. What a bunch of idiots.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
Suck both of my nuts. I only got one word for you, partner.
Actually, the cutting out was fantastic.
Order! 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 Witness! Explain yourself!
If this is a joke, it's the worst I ever done diddly don heard.
I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall.
Then what's
Now then,
with that
please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
I'm gonna eat this beef jerky.
Or is that like an actual leather strap?
Which would be impressive because he is ripping it.
I mean, you can
Hey,
eat. You can
please
eat
answer
leather.
the question.
Huh.
Ole, 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 ole.
What is he now? Somebody attending the World Cup? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
Jesus.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
Connor.
Connor. He did.
He's dead.
He's eating dessert.
Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer.
That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Let's hear it.
Here. I mean, it's gotta be here, right?
He would be V, wouldn't he?
So,
Yeah, because V was. I don't know why victim and killer are two different. Because he was there at the time of the. Yeah.
Well, because isn't Meekins the victim technically here?
No, I think technically
Meekins thinks he's the killer, and Meekins came up on him exactly like this. So I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Save Scott.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
because,
save
Meekins
comes
is
up
the
in
killer,
case.
and the
I
person who's supposed to be
cannot.
Goodman is the victim.
Ah.
So click on the blue one.
But just basing it off of the way Meekins approached whoever was at the locker, the K would be Meekins and the V would be Marshall in this instance.
Yeah, because the victim is the person who was killed, so it's blue.
Okay.
Come on, we watched the security tape like 80 times.
We should watch it again just to hear the music.
Officer Marshall was standing right here.
But the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman.
but that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene.
And we have video evidence to prove it!
Here, play the tape!
But this time the No, but this time the music plays on a vuvuzela.
Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure.
He didn't.
Objection! May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir.
Yes. And how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh! Wait, okay, so Imposter Goodman knocked out Meekins, or, like, ripped his ID card off of his incredibly, like, exposed position, used Meekins' card to enter to enter the room. But Bruce Goodman also entered. What the fuck?
Okay. Meekins just came back.
Yeah.
From the thing, because it only carries the punches in, not the punches out.
Get it?
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
No, I'm just gonna eat my jerky. You got quite an imagination there, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Emphasis on come.
Still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
Can't say I care for your beard or bald head, but you don't see me complaining.
Amherst? Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence beyond proving a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall is indeed an asshat? I mean, dressed as...
Yes, I absolutely do, Your Honor. Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. It also smells like piss in here. That may not be me.
It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?
Oh, is that Drift gonna bail us out?
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The basics.
Why are you helping him?
Edward, we beat you like 5 times. Come on.
Because they're boyfriends.
Yeah, because they're boyfriends. For me, that
the
would
gumshoe ship will not sail. Will not fail. Fuck.
Polly, it's fine.
For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Phoenix! Try thinking outside of the box!
Also, what's my favorite movie called?
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
What do you think this locker was opened? Or why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? Judge.
Judy?
What do you mean?
Judge.
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been.
Also, let the record show that the first person we met after Angel Star was Jake Marshall at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
Argument. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions.
Let's go. Round 4.
Theme music.
I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Let's go again! Let's go again!
Mr. Wright, can I go home? This is boring.
You're not even here. You're not even here.
Oh, right. I ran out of the room. My bad.
After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the White Claw. The White Claw.
My favorite drink. Damn, this song slaps, am I right?
Alright.
I can't wait to hear this song in my nightmares.
Oh yeah, you know it. Okay. What are we...
We're looking for a white cloth. Any reason why a white cloth would be here.
His shoulder when it's all bloody.
Oh.
I sure hope you have a fishing license.
Do you have a TV license for that there, TV? Please, sir, I don't like this close contact.
Yeah, let's look a little farther.
Yeah.
'Cause that would be a good reason.
Yeah. Because it's a white jacket.
I just want to see if there's anything else. But I
Yeah.
do agree that the shoulder is very likely the reason.
Alright. So I don't think there's anything else because the cloth is already here, so...
Yeah, and we can't see any blood on it from there.
Yep.
I just want to see if there was something strict to point out. But yeah, it seems more than likely it's because of his shoulder.
Watch as he stares into your soul.
This is my new sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah, Blue Badger is our collective sleep paralysis demon. I should just load this save up and start next stream with this with this track.
This should be your Discord theme music from now
Absolutely
on.
not.
Yes.
Take that.
Got him.
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet.
Yeah.
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat?
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner. Not bad at all.
Rabble! Rabble! Rabble!
Interesting indeed. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have had to be here now, would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
All right, you got me. It seems the time has come. And speaking of come, I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out, quite easily I might add, and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 515.
So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Alright. Alright. Okay, let's do this again. Let's fucking rad. Hold it. When you say it, you mean...
You even have to ask, partner.
The SL9 incident.
2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day.
Not if I had anything to do with it, and I did. That incident's not over, I tell you.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine and mine alone.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance. That's why the great Officer Marshall, stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence.
Hold it. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card?
I stole the morning of that incident. I would have gotten away with it too.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
So, essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner? I ain't got 4 eyes.
I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself.
But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out.
Hold it! You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised myself. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anybody would be actually coming in during that short time period.
Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I have to think a little more about his raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say.
Please don't be the same knife I cut Meekins with.
So you're not Officer Meekins out and
managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught up on the camera.
Hold it! So, you did your research beforehand?
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, Burner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you blooded your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
so what you're saying is on that day
Wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
Hold it. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. At least I don't think so.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Or the term liberated. Actually, no, I didn't do that.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Wait, isn't that what,
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Oh, yeah. It's Chief. It's gotta be Chief.
Oh.
It's gotta be...
77777.
Yup. It's gotta be him. At 4:20 p.m.
Blaze it.
Blaze it.
Oh, yeah.
Blaze it.
Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
By the way, partner, it's a free country. I think. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in your salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine, and mine alone. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
You'll never make me squeal, Judge. I just can't forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
Hold it.
No.
That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? He stopped a box of Lucky Charms.
Not my Lucky Charms!
I'll never forget what they did to that Trixie Rabbit. Tricks were for kids. I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, or what happened to Captain Crunch. But there's still something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Your Honor.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files.
Had to do it that day.
So I guess now's the time to, like, inspect the files we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna quick save. Save here. Good. Alrighty. So we've got. So it's gotta be the last piece. It's always there's new dialogue. It's always the one we present on. So, well, actually,
the SL9 incident files.
Let's check it first.
Let's check it. Yeah.
All right. As incident number SL9 closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime: serial murder. Sentence: death. Victims: Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, and Neil Marshall.
There it is.
His brother.
Kirby.
His brother, presumably. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses: Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators: Damon Gant, Lana Skye. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators: Jake Marshall, Angel Starr. Objection. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. Leave them alone.
I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here.
Yeah, I'm the detective's dummy.
In a list of murder victims.
Damn.
Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall?
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. Oh. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got there, Edge Boy.
What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands.
To you?
He was my brother.
Also a cowboy.
He was investigating the murders of Damon Gann, the then Deputy Chief of Police. We had the same outfit, you see. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Yeah, he's evil.
Yeah.
Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed with a keyblade. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. My brother's eyes with it. At least according to the public records. Mac, I believe that's you.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. Too much light in his eyes.
That's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
Listen here, single child. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me, Fancy Pants.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened.
No, not satisfied with its resolution.
Nope.
Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
This game really doesn't like cutting to the right character.
Nope.
And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you and your 15-year-old sidekick.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day.
Wait, then whose body was in the trunk?
That was actually Goodman.
Oh. Oops.
The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office. This fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance. It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Scott.
Objection! But wait. A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Yes, it was. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. there yet remains the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
Tim, you want to take over, or you want me to keep going?
I just got back. Sorry.
Tim, it's up to you now.
Who do you want me to take over for?
You can do Marshall.
Well, it seems to me this boy's got on the draw on you, partner. Yep.
Well, the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable.
What?
If you have a response, make it a single word or less.
I really don't like this trend.
Sugma.
Ah!
Well, there we go.
I missed my case.
A Sugma.
Rebel!
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
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 I'm pressing
Doubt.
X to doubt.
Pressing X. Yep.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Idiot.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Incoming objection in 3.5 seconds.
1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. Oh, good timing.
God damn it.
How did she get here?
Your Honor, wait.
Emma.
Sorry, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection, and you know I couldn't. I wouldn't be a Maya knockoff if I didn't interrupt the trial.
Of course.
Right?
What do you mean, right?
Are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor. All I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
What a nice guy.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky Sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and I looked at it again, see?
So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Nani?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Bailiff, remove her nuts.
I don't have nuts. You know how this works?
Attach them and then remove them, bailiff.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
I'm just an attorney.
That's it, Your Honor, remove her toes.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them. Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
Bailiff, please give Miss Emma a boot to the head.
Why would I need a boot? You wear hats on your head.
Commence the slapping of nuts.
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark.
Yes.
Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Maybe.
Is there a problem with this? Hold.
The blue badger was in the way.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. I'm just a poor young girl. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be.
To my question, Mr. Wright, we don't have all day.
You sure
Yes,
about that?
Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. You mean you weren't concentrating before? What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
Hand size?
No problem.
Nope, no problem. Game over. It's fine.
What? No, Mr. Wright!
Objection.
Execute the sister, too.
This handprint, left at the crime scene, clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems to be clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
Grasping what?
It's not all of you grasping.
Staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
The badger.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on here?
Yes. Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The blue badger.
Hungry.
It's time for the blue badger.
Also, oh, actually, never mind. Go.
It's time for the blue badger. Take that.
Why is Marshall back?
What about that piece of plywood?
The blue badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Where's Gumshoe?
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here.
So,
watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime.
Dancing in the moonlight, huh?
Well,
What?
Gasp!
that's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
You just gave
Rabble,
Marshall a
rabble.
heart attack.
Rabble!
Means, just exactly what does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on the locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
It's alright, think through it.
Teleported.
Scientifically.
Emma, not now.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave that handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in.
Just one moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
Judge, do you even know what those two words mean? It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but It's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
And now Edgeworth is a suspect.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been... Detective Goodman! Where he was really murdered!
That's ridiculous! I refuse to accept your absurd claim!
Objection! The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection! So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred!
When
6
did
hours
the
before.
first incident
Timestamp.
occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that
Do I need to summarize?
prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Sure, give me 1 second.
Saves come.
Yes.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Well then, will the defense please present this evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
I'm a detective.
Is it the time card of the first unknown, unregistered?
Yeah,
name?
I think it has to be. All who entered the evidence room on 2/21. All. Just to make sure, 4:20 p.m.
Plays it.
Still checks out because autopsy report says died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m.
Now Edgeworth is a suspect.
Take that. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card report.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at...
Let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah!
You idiot!
Ah!
Mr.
Man Ray!
Just
What have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy, considering how you dressed that ascot.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't be me.
Well, lick my balls and call me Sally. Nope, I ain't getting it.
I don't understand either.
Well, it turns out there is exactly one other record that happened before Edgeworth entered the room, and it just so happens to be visible right here for all of your eyes to see at 4:20 Blaze It PM, ID number 77777.
Is that what you need to show though, or is it the opposite?
We're working our way there.
It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means The blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
Francis Scott Key.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his blood away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Very good, Judge!
Yes, Judge, at exactly 4:20 Blazed PM.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Blazed.
Bungie.
Talk about a lucky number. 7 by 7. That's 49.
That doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777 777.
Miss Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Sure.
Your Honor, you are not
Whose
blessed.
ID number is 777777777.
It's obvious.
I only
The
written
murderer
out
was Luke Smith. No, it can't be.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What? What?
Explain yourself, son. That don't make a lick of sense.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection! But that's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation which we can be granted such authority.
Official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge.
You're all alike, aren't you? Bunch of preppy schoolboys with your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Enough to make my mama
Rebel!
blush.
Rebel! Rebel!
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay then, preppy. Let's take this outside. Let me ask you a question.
Sure. What? Yeah?
Does your mama dress you like that? Not to tell you, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Oh, your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 7777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
Someone.
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Gotcha, bitch.
Hey, hi, how are you? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? Oh, that's right, Ian was voicing her, right?
Yeah.
No.
I could do mine.
Do it.
Yeah.
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were being the ones suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator, in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
That. I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
You no good bitch.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures, Mr. Edgeworth. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order to get him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence.
I agree, Petra. This is
There you
bullshit.
go. See? That's what I'm talking about. Bunch of sleazy, no-good corporate scumbag lawyers.
Rebel! Rebel! Rebel!
I wonder if we'll have you catering.
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled.
That's
The
it, rip his
conclusion-
nuts.
The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
You don't say.
The lying bitch!
That ain't that Tuesday. Kill the judge.
To be continued.
What a beautiful story.
What
So
a
there-
beautiful wedding.
So, now the question is, what was Chief of Police Officer Gantz's motive for killing Bruce Goodman?
He's secretly the murderer.
To get to the other side.
Well,
His brother was the murderer or step something
Yeah,
or other
like,
related.
Do you think
he's
like
covering for him.
he's related or is in fact the person who was the serial killer?
I don't know if he's the
Or-
serial killer
or-
specifically, but he's involved in the murder somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an accomplice or like an assistant.
Or
Yeah.
he's the one who actually killed Marshall's brother.
Ooh.
Oh, that might be it, yeah.
He's
That's
the
a
one
good
who
one,
actually
too.
killed Marshall's brother, and
Yeah.
he was an accomplice in the serial killings.
Or he just kind of used the serial killings as a cover up to kill Marshall's brother.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
blamed it
exactly.
on the serial killer.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because that's the only one they said they had evidence for.
Right.
That's
Well.
pretty good.
There we have it. So it looks to me, according to Rise from the Ashes
Your cheat sheet.
walkthrough, which I haven't looked at this entire session, mind you.
Because we were
easier.
too big brained.
We were too big-brained. Where the hell is the walkthrough? Yeah, here it is. So let's see. So we have day 3. Okay, so we have day 3 investigation. So immediately after this trial happened, we're investigating more, and then
Oh.
3 trial sections. So day 4, trial former, trial ladder, and trial ladder 2. So we are in fact halfway through this case.
Yeah.
In terms of
see, we did it.
in terms of length.
I thought we were gonna have a lot more to do.
Well, because we kind of did 1.5 last time, and we did 2 this time. So we
Yeah.
were banking it on we did 1 section every single week.
Yeah.
So if the investigation goes quickly, which it might not, it may be solely investigation next week. Then we have lots and lots of trial days. We will probably not do all 3 in one sitting because that's a
No.
lot. But guess we'll figure it out.
Plus, I expect that there's going to be lots of shenanigans in the trial.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's gonna be a lot. Like everybody's gonna come to the stand. It's gonna be Angel Star. It's gonna be Gant. It might be. Honestly, it might be Lana and Edgeworth and Emma to give us context on like what actually happened during that incident, because we still don't really know why Emma ran off. Like there is in fact a personal connection to this incident, and we don't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be their parents were killed during it, but none of the victims were Sky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I guess we'll see.
We shall see.
But, there's gonna be a lot of evidence and a lot of stuff going on next week, so...
All the stuff.
Stay tuned. Thank you all for hanging out. We will see you next week.
Catch y'all.